Hello and welcome back to my channel. So before we jump into a quick summary of chapter 11 in Jane Eyre, make sure that you are in fact subscribed to this channel. So in the previous chapter, Jane was hired on as a governess at Thornfield Hall after receiving a correspondence from a Mrs. Fairfax. So Jane is heading off to Thornfield. Now her driver was late picking her up in Millcote, and so she doesn't arrive to Thornfield Hall until very late. It's dark, it's nighttime, and she can't distinguish a lot about the outside of the house, but she does remark on how cozy and comfortable it is inside. She is welcomed by Mrs. Fairfax, who's elderly and sweet and just very welcoming, very kind to Jane. And we soon learn that Mrs. Fairfax isn't actually her employer, but her employer is actually a Mr. Edward Fairfax Rochester. Mr. Rochester is away often and doesn't frequent this Thornfield Hall, his house, very, very much. And Mrs. Fairfax she just kind of sees to the house's management and I guess essentially the housekeeper. Jane learns that she will be governess to Adele, who's a sweet little French girl, and we learn a little bit about Adele's background. We know that her mother was a French singer and dancer. And let's see. Mrs. Fairfax continues to tell Jane a little bit about Mr. Rochester. They do have a family relation, hence why they both have Fairfax in their name. And their family's kind of what I would describe as a little gothic, and not like today's version of gothic, but the old English version, where just a bit eccentric, prone to kind of like violent behaviors and dark moods. And then at one point in the evening, while Jane is with Mrs. Fairfax, she hears this kind of weird, strange, eerie laughter. And then Mrs. Fairfax calls in a Grace Poole, and she says, she doesn't reprimand her, but she just kind of gives her some like a reminder of her job. And essentially it's just kind of like this weird little interaction. Mrs. Fairfax then tells Jane that there's someone who works in the house that's a little unbalanced, and that Grace Poole is a little unbalanced. And so yeah, that's that. Jane, essentially chapter 11, Jane arrives to Thornfield. She meets Mrs. Fairfax, learns that Mr. Rochester is actually the master of the house, and that her new student is Adele Varens. So hopefully this comes in helpful to you, and again, make sure that you're subscribed, like this video, share with others who may be in need of a quick summary of chapter 11. So I'll see you around, and bye.